Combat sports is like in my family. My father was a boxer. I have a real strong inkling that if I would have stayed with it and I didn't end up where I ended up, prison, drugs, all that shit, I'd be sitting there with TJ and Nattie on WWE TV.
Downtime in the ring.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. This week, we have another guest who's very close to TZ. We got Mason Cross this week. What is going on, my brother?
Nothing much, Playboy. Just out here enjoying life and not letting life enjoy me. You know what I'm saying?
We got to learn a little bit about you. This is our first ever guest who is in Canada currently. Not somebody who just goes and travels from the States to wrestle in Canada, but is in Canada. That is awesome, my guy.
Yeah, man. Well, I love my country. My country is a beautiful place. I was born and raised here, back in the 80s. And I happened to be born in, this is Calgary, where we make wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's like a factory. So I just happened to get lucky,
How long have you been in the wrestling game?
Okay, well, it's a little combat sports is like in my family. My father was a boxer, so he moved up here and he basically bought his first ring from Stu Hart. So converted that into a boxing ring and started training his boxers, right? Fast forward, I'm boxing, I'm training, make it to high school. High school is pretty much where I kind of like got sucked in because Teddy Hart and TJ Wilson, Tyson Kidd. I went to school with TJ Wilson, and Teddy Hart was one of my best friends growing up. And I dated a girl that went to his school. Long story short, got in a fight outside of a pool hall. He said, "You need to bring that energy to the gym." And I did. Was training. I trained with Harry, Bulldog Jr. I trained with TJ. Those two are real good friends of mine. And my life went one way. Their life went the other way, basically. I was in the streets at the same time I was training, right? I was out there pushing the dope. I was out there doing the thing. So basically, I got caught up and started using the dope. So my life basically went from the plug to the neighborhood crackhead to a prison inmate to the flyest ref in the business. But there's so many intricate little stories in there of what happened. But as for the professional wrestling, I want to say I would say I would be involved for about 2-3 years now, but the passion and the love, I started training back in 2000, 2001. It's always been a part of my core, my life. I have a real strong inkling that if I would have stayed with it and I didn't end up where I ended up, prison, drugs, all that shit, I'd be sitting there with TJ and Nattie on WWE TV. But that's just my feelings towards it.
And what was really like that experience with TJ and DH Smith? There must have been like a sense of like, holy shit, I'm actually like surrounded by people who were trained in the dungeon and stuff like that. Being like near the dungeon too, was there anything that you took away as far as aside from just knowing TJ and Harry?
Oh, back then it was different though, because to me it was just TJ and Harry, right? There was no DH Smith, there was no Tyson Kidd. We were high school kids, you know what I mean? So like we were just training. We had a promotion up here called Matt Rats. Bischoff was our GM. Like it was crazy. Like we had our own little thing. They had their own little thing going on up here, and I was gonna be a part of that. But like I said, my life kind of went one way. And Teddy Hart, like we were just teenagers. Like, so now it's like watching TV. Like I remember sitting in the prison cell and I'm watching TV and I'm like, is that fucking TJ? And I'm like, and it was, and it's, you know what I mean? And then his wife comes out, Nattie comes out. I'm like, these motherfuckers made it, right? Like, so that's where it's like.
Oh no, tangent question. How did you feel about TJ's hair situation?
You know what? When I saw that shit, I was like, bro, what the fuck is you doing? But he's always been a different cat, right? He's always had his own flex, right? Like he's different. He loves his cats. He's just TJ, and you just gotta love him because the fact of the matter is just the man with such a peaceful heart. and he's so helpful. He just wants to make the business better. So, hence why he's probably still got a job there, right? Like, a lot of people are in the business for themselves. He's in the business for the business, and he loves it. And that's what I respect about him,
Yep.
So you had mentioned flyest ref in the business. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I was before wrestling, before any of that, like I said, it was combat sports, but my main thing, what I was doing in the 90s was music. I'm a rapper. It's what I do, right? So when I decided that there's no gimmick, you get what you get. Then I believe in my heart, when you look at me and I look in the fucking mirror and I put myself next to these motherfuckers, I'm the flyest ref in the fucking business. So it's not about a gimmick. It's just, I feel, because refs, we're still the ref. We're not here to take away from the match. But at the same time, I do believe that the ref should get a little shine. So it's like, if I can't enhance you, then what the fuck is the point, right? So somebody hit me with, it actually was a crowd thing. Somebody in a crowd chanted something about a fly motherfucker, and I just went with it. You know what I mean?
And initially, you were actually wanting to do ring announcing before you got the ref ordeal, wasn't it?
No, that was a fucking accident. So basically, how I got into the business was a lady named Stacey Angel. She was actually, she was married to Smith Hart, which is Brett's oldest brother, R.I.P. So she wanted a referee, I was under the impression it was ring announcing, because a person named Logan Cross, who worked in the same warehouse that I worked in, was a professional wrestler. So he said, "Hey man, you want to come ring announce for this show we got going on?" I'm like, "Show?" He's like, "Yeah, we got a 10-day tour, blah blah blah." It turned out 3 days, whatever, shit happens, indie wrestling. But yeah, I thought I was a ring announcer, so I got all gimmicked up in my suit, took the pictures, sent them into her, and she's like, no. She announced me as a referee. I'm like, oh well, shit. Now I'm standing there in a suit, and you announced me as the referee. But cool. So I kind of got thrown into the deep end as like the only referee on like a 3-day tour. So I just pushed through like 7 matches a day by myself. First time out there. I had no idea. Like, I did have an idea what I was doing, because I watched Jimmy Corderas DVDs. I watched fucking, I was watching Herb Dean. I was watching Richard Steele, trying to combine all these elements of different styles of refereeing into this professional wrestling referee. Like, you're an official. You can't be afraid to get in there. So that happened was just a pure, I want to say accident, but it was more of a misunderstanding on my part, because I was thinking ring announcer, ended up being a ref, and then it's just, there we go. I wanted to be a wrestler, if you want to know. I didn't want to be any of those when I was growing up. It was like, I wanted to be a wrestler, but you know what I mean? So
have you tried to get back into in-ring shape, or are you just like, I'm just good?
I'm 100% still in in-ring shape.
Hey.
I'm 100% still in in-ring shape, but I try to keep myself healthy. That's just, it is like, I tell people my age and they go, "Get the fuck out of here." And I'm like, so it's true. So, what I mean? So
all right, that's pretty cool, man. One thing I like to ask, especially when TZ recommends us to have guests, how do you know TZ?
What's crazy is like I said, do music. So me and my homeboy, we had a reel that we had on an IG, and because he does reggae, and we all do dancehall, because we are Yardman, we are Jamaican, so we all do dancehall, we all do, and he heard that, and he was like, "Yeah, your next song needs to be featuring Montezi." And I was like, "Oh yeah?" So, because I didn't even realize, it was crazy, because I have so many people on my Facebook and on my IG, I did not realize that I had TZ under his government name on my Facebook.
Yeah.
So he's hitting me up, and I'm like, "Oh shit. Okay, so all right then." I grab a beat. I came up with a concept. I'll tell you honestly, it took me 6 months, because the man's like the theme song king, right? So
yeah,
I'm not coming to him with a half-ass project. So I wrote the song for like 3 months. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, no, that's not it. Back it up. Let's do this shit again. No, that's not it. Back it up. Let's do this shit again. Then I sent it to him, and he was like, my guy, this is the one. And we did a track. It's called Brace Pun It. It's going to be coming out, and I want to drop it around August. You know, I got a few things here and there to move around, but I want to drop a project in around August. And me and TZ are going to take over the summer with that fucking song. And yeah, so it was purely through a musical connection. And I'm always supporting this stuff, right? Because like I was one of the first dudes I know walking around with theme songs in my headphones. And I'm talking like 94, 93, 94. And people are like, what you listening to, dog? No, this ain't Wu-Tang. This is Razor Ramon. This is like, you know what I mean? Like I was one of the first people doing that, like up here at least. I don't know about down there, but so when I seen that TZ, I was always wanted to incorporate hip hop and rap together because we've always been making references on it. We've always been connected somehow. And you know, then I see TZ and Swerve, and I'm just like, geez. And it's like looking at Swerve, it's crazy because it's almost like me 10 years ago. I'm watching my freaking like a nephew doppelganger do his damn thing because everybody, if I don't get Swerve comments at least 4 times a day, and I'm like, listen, we're like a foot and a half. I'm like a foot shorter than the guy. We're not the same dude. You know what I mean? I'm older. Leave me alone. Like, but yeah, it's like it's one of those crazy things that just happens. And yeah, I wanted to grind hip hop and wrestling together. And so that's basically it. Music brought me and TZ together.
It was the when he performed at Arthur Ashe's when I first was like, man, I want to interview this guy. I want to learn. And now almost a year later, we've had this partnership and he's given us some amazing guests. I'm always interested to see like who runs in his circles, and it makes you fit perfectly with everybody else that we've gotten to meet who he calls family and friends. It makes sense, man.
What's crazy is we've never met face to face. We've never met. Nope. Me and TZ have never met. As a matter of fact, I'm an ex-con. I'm not even allowed in the States until this paperwork goes through. So the fact of the matter is until, you know, all this shit blows over for me, I'm stuck up here, but I'm trying to make all these connections as far as I can, you know, Mexico, Japan, everywhere. And TZ and we met each other. Well, we didn't meet. We started talking and we just clicked.
Yeah, just going into like, you know, more of your music projects, because we like to incorporate what you guys are passionate about besides wrestling. What else do you have other than that project with TZ?
Right now, like I said, I had just really, like, because of the way my life went, I just really got back into like pushing my music again, because I've been rapping since '94, but never really, we were just doing it, you know what I mean? Then my life went all topsy-turvy with the drugs in the prison. I got out, I got married. I kind of just relaxed for 10 years. So I really don't even have, well, the only thing that's released right now is the Bang Bang Gang remix called Let It Bang. That's out on YouTube under my homeboy Peter Man the Rapper's channel. And trying to get Tony to pick that up because AEW is coming here in maybe about 2 weeks to Calgary.
I've actually heard that. I've heard that remix. I think it's pretty fire.
Yeah, so me and I, you know, I only took the first 8 bars on it, but they're like, yo, bro, just set this off first. So I'm like, all right. So, and I'm telling you, like, I feel like if they don't pick that up for Calgary, where I'm from, my city, where I'm at, and have me doing the same thing for the Bang Bang Gang that TZ did for Sammy, they're crazy because that track is knocking the city apart right now.
What is something that you're trying to accomplish at least this year? Honestly,
I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna drop my actual first release. Like I want to call it an EP, but by the time I'm done, who knows? It might be an LP, might be a whole album. But I want to drop a project this summer. You know what I mean? Kind of like get all of the stuff that I had, all my bangers, my knockers, everything that's in my heart, everything that's up here, and just kind of get it out there. See where it takes me. See how I'm feeling about it. Maybe I just needed to get that off my chest and release a project. Maybe it takes me even further, but I will always love and do music. And yeah, so I'm hoping that either, you know, somebody hear that and somebody says, hey, this cat's got it, you know, because my music I feel is a little different than everybody else's.
Will it have like kind of like the rhythm inspired
for sure, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Is there
I'll never leave
any
the cult about it.
artists? Is there any artists like in that genre or style of music that you kind of take influence from? I can because I've listened to reggae for at least a good 5 years. So like the
Yeah.
Kimani Marleys, the Abrosis, the Popcons, and stuff like that.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
there anything that you like to integrate it from there, or is there someone that you kind of
Basically, my whole inspiration was Busta. Busta off top was to me the greatest rapper of all time. You know what I mean? I grew up idolizing Cat. Like I was like, when I seen just the presence of the way Busta does things, and then I'm like, we're fucking similar. Like we're Jamaicans born outside of Jamaica, but still represent the culture to the fullest. Like, you know what I mean? And of course, Buju Banton, of course, Popcorn. His flow is a little different. His sing-songy style sometimes a little different. So I try to incorporate some of that. And Vibes, Vibes is just, he's a lyrical magician. So like the stuff he comes up with is just off out of here. So yeah, like but my real inspiration, I try to keep it. I don't really listen to too much. That's why I try to do my own thing. So if you listen to too much, you kind of get influenced. Like the only thing you should be influenced by, I believe, is the stuff that you were raised by. But other than that, what you're trying to produce should be fresh and new and like something different.
What is on, like, what's your game plan now? I know that we talked about like what you want to get done with this year. What do you want to continuously do? I know that in your past you were dealt a bad hand and now you're trying to make it better. What are we doing with that?
Honestly, like I said, I'm just gonna push this wrestling and this music until my body tells me to stop, because honestly, I feel like I was put here for more, and not everybody gets what they want when they want it. Like I said, all my dreams started coming together at 40 fucking years old. You know what I mean? That's like, people got to realize that you might be doing something at 19, 20, 21 and fail at it or give up on it or get taken away from it in my case. But if you really, really want, I believe in manifestation. And at first I started a podcast. It was called Just Two Jobbers. Me and my boy were running a podcast for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And I just wanted to be involved in the business again, because I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm feeling an urge inside of me. So my goal is to I want to stay in the business. I want to manage. When I go from reffing to managing, hell, I'll wrestle if they let me. But how long will that give me in my body? I stay in shape, but how long do I really, really have? You know what I mean? And are they gonna pick up somebody who's 42 and about to, like, you know what I mean? So, but managing, I can do that forever. So I'd like to get in there and talk some shit for some people. Why not? So
as you mentioned your podcast, I actually listened up like from episode 1, and then I kind of just picked out certain episodes. Like you did particularly one on the tribalism, the one on CM Punk's, like very solid takes, hot takes, some might say. But is there anything that you want to bring on from that podcast and to hear, as far as we can talk pretty much anything WWE or anything wrestling at this point? So was there anything that you still believe from that podcast to this day, like something currently?
I will give you, what's crazy is that podcast, it ended, and I was telling my boy Elton about this on the other show. That podcast ended a friendship of mine for about a year. We didn't even release this episode because it came down to like, is Roman Reigns the greatest of all time? Like, no, the fuck he's not. He's fucking great, but come on, hold the title for 7 years, then talk to me. Change the entire dynamic of the business, then talk to me. You know what I mean? Make the company a publicly traded company, then talk to me. Like there's levels to being considered the greatest of all time, the greatest of the coolest champion of our generation. Sure, I'll give him that. But he wasn't Bruno Sammartino. He wasn't Hogan. He as much as it's fuck Hulk Hogan, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he changed the way wrestling was presented to you. on TV. Vince took that and said, this guy can be a television star, and changed the way wrestling was given to us. Stone Cold Steve Austin was like, to the point where people that didn't even fuck with wrestling knew what the bottom line was, and Austin 316 was, and was wearing shirts, and all of a sudden they're talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin in the fucking offices, and they're doing all his catchphrases. The guy blew past what Hogan did and made it so that it was like, we can make this company, we could sell parts of this company and become billionaires. And he did that. Roman Reigns didn't do that. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Roman Reigns held the title for a long time, raised some ratings, but he didn't do none of that. Like, there's levels to being called GOAT, and he might get in there. And I'm not want to take nothing away from him, because that's I can't. He did all that shit with cancer, bro. Like, so I can't take nothing away from him. But to be compared to like dudes that have changed the game, I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can do that. And that's where he was like, he started calling me a fucking clown, and we were wiling on each other. And my homeboy's like, I'm not putting that episode out. And we didn't talk to each other for like a year over this bullshit. And it was stupid. And then one day I just hit him up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump off my high horse and kind of accept the apology that you sent me a year ago. But yeah.
I know exactly how that feels. I lost my other podcast because of my disdain for CM Punk. And a gentleman that live on air was like, CM Punk molded my entire personality. And I clowned the shit out of him because I was like, you're your own person, dude. Phil don't fucking know you.
Phil ain't never met you.
he don't give a fuck about you, dude. He's just there to get a paycheck. Don't take it so hard. So yeah, no, I know how that feels.
And obviously everything I said about Vince McMahon was I fucking lying. The podcast is done and over. Now this might be going to jail. That's a piece of shit. Was I lying? I was never lying about that guy. Trust me. And I don't know. And I never met him either. I don't know none of. I have a read on people, and I don't know. He was just way too nonchalant in being a disgusting person, even on TV as a character. Like, it was just odd.
I mean, whenever you hear the story of Vince pitching to his own daughter that he should be the father of his own
the
kid,
incest shit. Yeah.
Like what?
What, bro? What the fuck did you just say? Like, no. That's what I'm talking about. And that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, and Saudi, like the whole, I mean, Saudi's doing whatever it's doing right now to try and change its image. But back then, they literally just beheaded a journalist. And then this guy signs a deal to go over there. And I was like, bro, you should have let that rest for a bit. Like, you know what I mean? And then what happened? They got fucking held hostage. And I will stand by this shit that they got fucking held hostage on the tarmac because Vince cut the feed to the shit. He got in an argument with, y'all remember the whole story. But they were fucking, them niggas was held hostage, and you can't tell me no different.
And I argue that was the greatest thing to happen for Triple H to actually help give something for the product that we see now today. So
yeah,
at NXT TakeOver,
yeah, that was insane that time because them boys were stuck over there, and then we had Adam Cole beat Bryan Danielson on TV. Like, what? Like, yep. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we knew it was going down, right? And honestly, I'm glad it kind of did because Vince had to go for the business to for WWE at least to do its thing. Vince had to go because he was just going to keep pushing more people the other way. And like I said, the tribalism is weird because I don't know. Up in Canada, it was different for us because we didn't WCW or WWE. We were just watching both beat each other up. We wanted to see who would win. Yeah, some of us picked our side. I had my shit going, because the Hearts were WWE and WWF at the time and whatnot. So I felt like I kind of had to stay a little loyal. But when you watch the product was better in WCW. Like, it was more real. Like, it just was. And then it got shit on they shit on themselves, right? So, back then, but the tribalism wasn't as like it is now. We have people that like AEW sucks, and if you watch it, you're a fucking idiot. Like, whoa, what? Like, relax. It doesn't need to go there. And we have people fighting on the internet and like doxing each other and shit. Like, this is stupid. It's crazy. And it's gotten to the point where it's like people are, what's the word I'm looking for? People are becoming, I guess it is tribalist to the point where they think they work there. And none of them work there. None of them work
dude. The TV rating shit gets me pissed off, my guy.
What? Exactly. I hate that shit. I hate fucking TV ratings talk. That's like one of the worst things you can do as a fucking fan. Because here's the thing. Your bottom line is fine regardless of the fucking TV ratings of that company.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes their bottom line is fine regardless of the TV ratings too. Is look at AEW. It doesn't matter what their TV ratings are doing. They're doing something on the outside that's producing for Warner Brothers. Hence why they still have a fucking show. I don't know what it is, because if only 500,000 people are watching every week, you know what I mean? But they're still looking at it as 500,000. It's 500,000. We want 500,000 viewers for this show right now.
Oh,
Let me get that. Let me fucking get that right now. Like, you know what I mean? So there's something going on there that we as fans or, some talent are not understanding. And we should just leave it at that instead of trying to talk about it on the internet like you do know.
I like this man's takes. I like this man's
favorite flavor is vanilla. Everyone's favorite flavor is chocolate, but doesn't mean you can't hate ice cream altogether just because of the one. So
exactly. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't understand where it's like people don't understand that wrestlers are still friends. Like,
oh yeah,
we have freaking Deonna Purrazzo and her husband in two different companies, but and they can say something to each other on the internet, and fans will blow that shit out of proportion. Or the shit that just happened with what's the name there? Jordan Grace and Taz. She said his catchphrase, and then he wilded out, immediately apologized because he was like, shit, I didn't realize it was a homage thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Then we get fans who are reposting it, cutting off what Taz said, trying to make it a thing. Oh, look at the difference between AEW and WWE. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. They already hashed this shit out like two grown adults do, but y'all are cutting the narrative where you want the narrative. And it's fucking stupid because that shit right there is what destroys the business. There's a reason why people aren't watching AEW because they don't really know it's good. It's not horrible. And it's not the greatest wrestling of all time, but it's some rich mark with money who's just running a company. So let him go. You know what I'm saying?
And you had mentioned Bischoff earlier, actually. What was your experience with Bischoff?
I never actually had an experience because, like I said, I never got to wrestle in Mat Rats because of the way what I was doing. But from what I understand, he was barely around. Like, he was supposed to be the GM, but like, I heard he was barely around. From what I understand, like, this is fucking 20-something years ago. I'm trying to remember. So this is I understand that he was just like, he come cut a promo type shit or send in a video type shit, or he was barely around GMing at all. So
I got you.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you kind of bring in these stars. And it happens to indie guys all the time, at indie promotions all the time. They kind of bring in these stars expecting a giant pop. Or like a giant, like something, and it doesn't happen all the time. Like, we wanted to bring Rowan in, Eric Redbeard, as a heel, but it's like literally Bray had just passed. So it's like we brought him in, and he was trying to do the monster gimmick in a small. We have a small town called Drumheller out here. We're doing this monster gimmick. It's a dinosaur town. We got all these museums and fossils and shit in the ground. It's pretty cool, but it's weird. But this kid brings a Bray Wyatt shirt for him to sign. Immediate babyface. Like, there's nothing you can do with that, right? Then he wore it in the match for the kid, and like immediate babyface. So it's things happen where you bring people in and you want them to be one thing, but it turns out they're not. You know what I'm saying?
So what promotions are you working with currently?
Currently, right now I'm with promotion. My main promotion is a promotion called Real Canadian Wrestling. Those are that's where you'll see me 2-3 times a month. You know what I mean? At least. Another one, my next one is Wild Rose Sports Association. They're another one out here in Alberta, mostly Alberta based. And then the other one out in BC. I got 2 out in BC. One's called Big West, and then the other one is called Canadian Apex Wrestling. And they're on the rise. That's run by a homeboy named Scotty Mack. You might have seen Becky Lynch name drop the shit out of him all over the place. But yeah, that one's run by him. Great dudes out there. Same with RCW. We run by a dude named Steven. We call him Squig. You know what I mean? Steven Styles. That's our dude out here in the real Canadian wrestling. And that's my home. That's where I try to keep most of my my ring time over there. But I'm also trying to stretch out across Canada. Like I said, I'm new into the business, so I'm still kind of putting my fingers out there, you know?
It's weird. It's weird. I understand the time gap from when you were younger wrestling to now, but it's still weird saying like you're new in the business with the people that you do know.
That's odd. It's to me because it's like when people ask me that, it's like I want to say, yeah, I've been in the business fucking 25 years. I want to give that fucking speech, but it's like I can't because I known them for fucking 25, almost 30 years, some of them, but to be in the business, it's as a respect thing. You can't sit there and say you were in the business. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
when I trained in like 01, you know what I mean? I was supposed to, me and Jack Evans were on that breakdance shit. We were doing all our moves and all that. And we were supposed to tag up and would have went off from there. But I always, and I posted it on Twitter and Facebook the other day. I had the problem of trying to be like a rapper instead of just being a fucking rapper.
Yeah.
I was out there selling drugs. I was out there with the bitches and the coke and the fucking cars and the bars and all that shit and whipping around in expensive cars for no reason when your house looks like shit. Like, you know what I mean? You're out there just not taking care of what you needed to take care of and got locked up for it. You know what I mean? Started using, sold dope to a cop, fucked my whole life up, 5.5 years in prison. You get out and you push forward. So it's like to say I was in the business the whole time I was doing that shit would just be wrong. You know what I mean?
And what now gives you like the motivation to get back into this business?
In all reality, like I said at the very beginning, I feel like I was built for more. I feel like I have to leave. I feel like leaving a mark on whatever industry that I enter. It's a must. It's in my I don't know. I feel like it sounds cocky when you say it, but I feel like I'm fucking somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like there's levels to your like confidence, and people say I'm overconfident, people say I'm cocky, people say I'm conceited, whatever. I don't care, but I believe in my heart that God put me here to show people something, to show you that you can come from nothing. You can, and there's been fucking plenty of stories. Like, don't get me wrong, Jay-Z out of Marcy Projects, blah blah blah. All these guys come from, but I just feel like my chapter in that book should be told. I don't know why. I feel like I was put here for something. And in wrestling, there's really no. You got our truth, but you don't have anybody telling you that story. Like, this is where he came from, because I just feel like putting Jericho said your best gimmick is yourself turned up to 11, blah blah blah. But I feel like my story is a story that could be told, like in the world of wrestling and music combined. So
same thing with MVP. Same thing with, like you said, R-Truth. Same thing with Shad. So
yeah, we have all of that, but it's like they haven't told it, and I don't know if they shied away from telling it, or if it's because we're black and they don't want to glorify that part of our shit in wrestling or whatever. But I believe that the fucking story should be told, and that's why I haven't compromised with who I am or what I do. Same way Swerve and TZ have not compromised. This is the product that you're getting, and I'm gonna give it to you. If you want it, fucking here it is. If not, fire me and I'll go to AEW and be a world champion. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
whatever whatever the fucking case may be. I believe that there's levels to compromise, but you also should be yourself. And my story, I don't know, like I said, I feel like it needs to be told.
I was we were having this conversation. We were traveling up to a promotion yesterday, or 2 days ago. No, yesterday.
We were traveling back.
Yeah. And I used Swerve and TZ as a good example. I was like, there are a lot of people that we're meeting in this business who like to go to the new shiny thing and, compromise their character a little bit. That, whatever will get me to the next point, I'll do that. I'll leave everything behind, but I'm keeping the same mentality in Chris's too, of what Swerve and TZ did with Swerve City. Is you saw it in WWE, you see it now in AEW, you see it on Peacock still. That has never changed between their dynamic.
Never. Exactly. And that's the thing right there. It's like, instead of running to the shiny new thing, people don't understand it. Just be the fucking shiny new thing. Then people run to you. And it's like, and that's why Jericho will always be in the top 5, top fucking 3, whatever, because always becoming the new shiny thing. It's running stale, but he'll find something. You know what I mean? So
being adaptive in the environment that he's given in. So
exactly. And that's why it's like right now, it's like, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be that new shiny thing. How many refs rap? How many, you know what I mean? How many, there's a lot, the rappers rap, wrestlers rap, you know what I mean? But how many refs are out there doing their thing? It's like, people are like, yo, you should really be a wrestler. And I'm like, if you only fucking knew. You know what I mean? So it's like, I believe that I've kind of found a niche in the not being a wrestler, kind of just being off to the side and letting the boys shine. Because also it's like, when you look at your age group, I don't want to disrespect none of these young cats that are coming up, and it's like, this is your time. You know what I mean? This is your time. Sure, I'm athletic still, I can still do whatever, but this is y'all's time. And getting hurt at the old age is a lot different than getting hurt at 22, 23, 24.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And I don't get me wrong, I ain't old. I'm only 42. Don't feel 42 is a new 22. So, but don't get me wrong, I ain't old yet.
I would love a story. I think it would go viral too, just out of how funny it would be. I would love if you got to ref 2 wrestlers having a rap battle, and right in the middle of it, it's just so fucking awful that you just come in, you grab a mic, you start spitting bars. You're just like, you know what? You guys need to learn something for the business. I would love that so much.
That needs to happen now. Put that shit in the ether.
Yeah, that needs to happen. It's just, I feel like that would go viral just because people are like, oh, they got owned by the ref. And it's perfect.
Cooked by the ref. That'd be savage. Yeah. And there's another one too. A lot of people are like, we need a match we need like a fatal 5-way of you. It's Swerve versus Kofi versus Rich Swann versus, I'm like, you're trying to put every dread in the ring, ain't you? You're like just a dreadlock versus Bishop Khan versus just a bunch of dreads in the ring. I'm like, you just trying to.
We need it. I need that now. I need it. It's all high flying and it's all dreads. I need it.
It's just flying, just locks everywhere in the whole ring. Right. All right.
As we begin to wind down before we head over to the post show, because I'm super excited, I got a couple of questions for you. Where can everybody find your socials?
Well, you can find me basically Twitter, MasonCross82. Find me on Instagram at MasonCross82, and you'll find me on Facebook at Mason Cross. Cross is with an X. Don't forget that. A lot of people are putting in K's, putting in C's. XROSS. Yeah. Okay,
wait, before we end the video, I'm gonna
call me out. I'm
gonna call him out. So lately both of our lives have been so busy that every time that I tell him, hey, this is our guest, sometimes he'll need like a refresher, right? Yeah. So he pulls up a picture of a white guy and he goes, it's this guy, right? And it's a C for a cross. And I was like,
some lawyer from Philadelphia or some shit.
I was like, this is not
I
This is
pulled up
nowhere
a
near.
book author first.
Yeah, it fucks people up. My business profile is kind of hidden on Google, so it's weird.
He was like, "Is this the guy?" And I was like, "No, this is the guy." And
Three times.
I'm loving it. I'm loving
yes.
it.
Oh, that was. Oh yeah, we were having like a argument over Snapchat. I'm like, dude, I've already told you who this person is. You gave me the widest guy you could have had.
That is GOAT tier comedy. I'm
Oh,
feeling that.
oh god.
But
right.
wouldn't you have shit if you said yes?
What?
Wouldn't you have tripped out if you said yes?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. Damn it! I should have. Damn it! Oh, and then you popped up in the video. Oh, I should have said it. I should have agreed that was it. Next time, I'm doing this again. Oh god, damn it! All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode. Now you guys can head over to the Patreon for our post show with Mason. I can't wait to see what we uncover there. This is actually going to be really fun. This is our second ever post show. Let's see what we get into, and we will see y'all in the next video.
Thank you for having me.